For those of you that don't, my name is Derek Dell. I have been a dungeon master since I was 16 years old. I'm 48 years old now, approaching 50s fast. I was obviously born in 1976 in an era where D&D was created by the great God Gygax. You don't know
Great guy.
God Gygax. Great God Gygax. Gary Gygax. I started Dungeons and Dragons, playing as a Dungeons and Dragons member in second edition, right after first edition and all the encyclopedias and stuff came out. I had some great DMs. I had some horrible DMs. Since we do have children on the panel, I'm gonna softly talk about some subjects. None of them will be triggering or outright.
We don't care.
Well, I do. Yes. I know, but that's what's important about this is the focus of today's talk is children. I am honored to be one of the Dungeon Masters of the Dungeons and Dragons Youth League here, hosted by Miss Jennifer and her husband, Mr. Justin, who graciously hired me after a severe injury I had years ago. I haven't worked in 10 years. I had nervous system damage and a bunch of ailments, so this job was a godsend to me and my family. I love Dungeons and Dragons. It's what I did during my healing, and frankly, it's what helped me through my healing journey as a trauma survivor. A lot of us from the 80s and 70s will know that some parents didn't quite get what parenting should be nowadays. I'm not saying that, I'm not standing on any political views or religious views. That's not what this talk's going to encompass. What I'm saying is, there were some bad friends, period. My father was not a great man. He left me when I was at 10, but not before beating the tar out of me. I had father issues. It really brought me down mentally, and I used Dungeons and Dragons to get out my feelings. I created my first character at 16. I was not original, and his name was like me, Derek. But instead of Dell, I named him Derek Navarre, watching Lady Hawk. Anybody? Del Ron. And he came originally from a continent that did not exist yet called Catilia, which is actually named after Link's original from Legend of Zelda's homeland from the comic series, Legend of Zelda, from the 1990s. We're going to start here with kids.
I just want to tell y'all, thank you for coming here. I'm actually running my booth, but like Derek said, it's been an extreme pleasure. Little I can talk for a little bit. I didn't want to interrupt, I apologize,
okay.
But I wanted to run back after my booth, but I didn't want to stop in for a second. Little Wars, we have our 7 years. Things that we haven't announced is we are an official Wizards of the Coast learning program. We have worked for it. Wizards of the Coast has recognized us for our learning programs in the country that is like ours, that is recognized.
Yep.
Me and my husband, we took over the program 7 years ago, and it started with just 2 of us, and we had 12 to 17 kids each, and then COVID happened, and then we restarted, and we started hiring DMs and all kinds of fun stuff. I didn't want to interrupt, but I just want to tell you, anyone who's in here, we would love to have your kids. I take the youngest now from 8 years old as my youngest player, all the way to 17. We have we do have some open spots available right now. Derek will go into a little bit more, but I just wanted to come and introduce myself as the person who, as the coordinator of the program. I want to introduce myself. I love my husband. I forgot it was 2 o'clock. I left him at our booth. So if you see the trolls, stop by, say hi. We have the dice, roll your own adventure type deal. Because we incorporate D&D into every aspect of my life.
Amen.
And they're good. They're really funny, and it's really old.
Degrees in theaters get used somehow, children. But I'm a 20-year veteran of the Renaissance Fair Circuit, so. But I've been playing since I was 12 and I turned 38 this year. I actually started in the 90s, but I started with first edition. I got forced to play first edition. I got
Sorry.
I got forced to play that one. So have fun, everybody in here. Thank you so much for coming to our Kids in D&D thing. It's from the bottom of our heart, from Little Wars, from Derek, from all the DMs that are actually in here, not in here, from all of our players. Thank you for the community, for the support. We love you all.
Thank you, Miss Jennifer. I love that one. That's why she's my boss. So, what does it mean to DM kids? Well, the first word I use, just with my story of being hurt, was, being a guy, laying on your back for 10 years, you don't know what to do. I started babysitting. I'm going to get this part of my past out of the way quickly because I want to get to the good stuff with the kids. So I wasn't supposed to walk again. I felt bad. I started babysitting the local trailer park. I got to be useful. I'm a guy. I've also got trauma. So if I'm not busy, my brain dwells. Now that's a lot of things that happen with kids, you find nowadays. Even if they're not abused, if they don't come from a bad walk of life. Some kids are on the spectrum, some kids aren't. Some kids dwell, some kids feel bullied, some kids feel bad. We didn't keep this in mind in the 80s. And that's why I'm glad to lead the fight with making sure the kids don't end up attacked, abused, hurt, manipulated any way, physically, mentally, in any way. So I want to be that man in the neighborhood that says, hey, you know what? If a woman can babysit a child, why can't a man? Because gosh darn it, I remember Mr. Rogers. I remember Robin Williams. Yeah, he had some corny movies and he swore like a sailor's comedy shows, but he was a good man with a good heart, was great for kids. He gave a lot to his community, God bless his soul. So I figured, okay, so I became an ordained minister, I did a whole bunch of active stuff, and I played D&D, and I got through my traumas. And so I got to walking. And then one day I came to Little Ways. I had a business called Dungeon Crawls Creations where I made this. This is one of my old commissions. This is somebody ordered it. They wanted some kind of Aztec temple. I incorporated a 3D printed pool from my friends at Mystic Realms, who are a sponsor of my podcast, which I'll get to at the end of the program. I was going to do it the talk. So I made these things. I didn't do much business, but I did some business. I started it with a best friend of mine named Randy Joseph Finch. He was my best friend. Sadly, he's passed. He's moved to his murder. And that was part of my trauma. So I carry on the Dungeon Crawls name with his name. It's spelled with a Z. I asked, Rand, I spelled with a Z. He says, Z, man, it's cool. Just do it. Randy was my half of fun love. He is what I embody today and carry on. Everybody watch Final Fantasy? Like Final Fantasy VII specifically. Cloud, he's Zack's mimetic legacy. Zack, his best friend passed, he carries on Zack's legacy. So I Randy. Now, a lot of these like, God, this guy's down. He's in trauma. He's down the dumps. But you know what? It's a good thing because it proves that you can take anything as down as you are and lift kids up. I'm using what I went through for these wonderful children. And two of them are here in the room. Anya and Ella, I've been DMing Anya since day one. She's my little chaos gremlin group.
I was here the first day he was here.
You were. And I was so nervous too because it's like kids. I mean, these folks trust me with their children every day. Sunday, they want to know. Things happen in public sometimes. Kids fight. Things can happen in youth group. Has it happened in our youth group? Yes. I want to introduce also another DM of our GM youth group,
Mr. Chad
and Mr. Chris. They're both DMs in our youth group. They're in here to help me spill the tea because Mr. Chris likes to call me the premium table. Because he uses the traditional gridded, that you could buy on our shelves at Little Wars mats. I made my stuff, and all of them look at me like, where'd you get it? I made it. It's just what I do. I'm a crafter. Not working for 10 years. If you don't do something, you go crazy.
Another reason we're the premium table. We have Ryan and Jaden.
Yeah. I'll get into them later. But Mr. Chad came into the program just around the time I was. He didn't get a table right away, but he was going around with all the DMs, taking notes, writing, studying. And it was amazing because for the first time, I met people like me that actually wanted to learn what I did. And these guys are younger than me. Like, because of my trauma, I don't see all of you as older or younger. I see you all as the same age as me. It doesn't matter how old you are. Even Anya Ella is hey, another player named Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
He's the smart one. He's also the group leader.
Ryan's another one of my players. I love the fact that some of my players show up. Thanks for showing up.
He's the group leader. He's the group leader for three reasons. One, he's usually the most powerful.
Yep.
Two, he's the smartest, and three, he's the oldest.
And he's also my rules lawyer because here's one of the first secrets I'm going to give away this, and you all can gasp and ah. I don't know the first thing about 5th edition.
He has the player's handbook memorized.
I've skimmed the player's handbook. I know about advantage and disadvantage, but I know about the simple things like checking your stats, adding your modifiers. After that, nothing. I came in the program, nothing. Ryan has helped me, and he's been teaching me as much as I've been teaching him.
He also kind of taught me as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's phasing out of our program. He's 16. And he has got an official invitation from my group, my home group, that when he phases out, to come game with the adults, because he's that good of a player. He role plays, and that's the core of it, is teaching your kids to role play. Now, going back, and you have to forgive me if I veer off course, because I do have a major head injury. The main focus of children is teaching them things. Okay, the first things we want to teach is a structure. Every child needs structure, it's important. So I think of everything that helped me get through my trauma and to go through the good parts in my life. And what was that? It was the people that loved me and kind of called me family that I didn't have. So what did they teach me? They taught me honesty, integrity, and accountability. That's the focus for my game group, and that's the focus for my family at home. That's what I've raised my family on, those 3 creeds. What does that mean? Well, when you mix that with the word community, which is what we all are, whether you're gay, straight, whatever, wherever you come from, walks of life, how you live, don't matter. At the end of the day, we all have blood, we all sweat, we all cry, we all have fears, we all have desires, we all have jobs. Some of us don't, some of us try, some of us do. At the end of the day, I don't see anybody as any different. And I'll go on one quick sidebar and I'll leave it at that is, in my family, I don't judge you by your politics or religion. I judge you by your moral character, because that's what matters. When I know somebody you love me, I don't care what religion or period. I'll end it at that. But it comes out to, okay, what values do we want to teach our children? Past honesty, integrity, and accountability, I was raised on G.I. Joe and He-Man. 80s cartoons, right? You know, the more you know, G.I. Joe. So what it comes down to is simply, okay, so let's install stories that teach our kids these values, because we all know, my age, cartoons were to sell us toys. That's what it was. The toys are still there, but TVs went out, YouTube's over. Hi, man.
How's it going?
A wonderful store owner. Man,
Hey,
thanks for hosting me.
Hey,
It's amazing.
Cool.
So,
Everybody comfortable in here? We're good?
yeah, you're doing great. Tell more people to come in.
I'll try.
Pack it up.
You're a pretty loud person, but we do have a microphone in case you want to use one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if we get packed in here and they can't hear, I'll scream it.
Good. Yeah, we're good.
So it comes down to this: teach them a moral value. Teach them something that they're going to take on. I'll give examples not from my game group right here, which I will later. I'm not going to leave you guys out. I wouldn't, because you guys are awesome. I refer to them as my kids, and I don't mean them as I'm stealing your children. I never do that. But I'm so proud of them. Anya is a little, I don't know, what do you say, Mom, Dad? What would you call Anya? A little mother-minded?
Brains.
From the Mountain Sisters.
She's got lots of energy, opinions, very smart.
Chaos.
Has trouble, you
Likes
know.
to be silly.
Yeah. Has trouble
Hey.
not letting other people talk.
That's raw ADHD.
Yeah. But see, with Anya, she was the first one I focused on to do, because
I've been a chaos gremlin since day one.
that's right. And with Anya, she was a special case because Anya had a very bad habit. Can I say it?
Having my character defile corpses.
No, that's not it, Anya. No. And no, I don't allow that.
I would
Unless you
take
try,
their.
I'll get to that.
I would
but
take their. He actually let me at first.
your personal quirk as a person, not your characters. Can I say it?
Not letting people talk.
Exactly. Anya constantly was yelling over people, interrupting them, because she's so excited. She loves D&D. She was so happy she got a new DM. Her previous DM's name was Spoon, and Spoon got sick. He had health issues like me. He's like me too, where I'm bipolar. I suffer from bipolar, so I take medicine. So Spoon had some issues, and he had to stop DMing the kids. But he did what was right for him by bowing out for his own health. If it ever happens to me, I have to leave the group if my health goes under. But these kids give me something I always wanted, and that's something to fight for, something to get healthy for. So that's why tomorrow we're not having it again. I'm booking myself in the emergency room for permanent hernia, and it's been hurting me since months. So I'm going to go get it fixed for these kids, so I don't have to say, hey, we're off this weekend ever again. We're going to be D&D every single weekend. Because for me, a lot of, our program is paid, okay, and to be totally transparent. a DM that shows up gets $30 for the table, $5 per child. Okay, so what does this offer? Well, for the younger ones that are in college or just getting out, we have one named Sam, who's just gotten out of the program and started DM. I mean, he went from program to DM. This is money. This is college money. This is well, for me, what it does in my family, because I don't work, this is grocery money every week. This is how I pay my bills. And what I do personally is, say I do a good day, say I get a full table, we'll say $60 for say example. I mean, try to be transparent because people want transparency. So what do? Well, I go to my wife, who comes here every weekend. You'll see her in the corner in the chair writing on the computer because she's trying to write for Marvel. That's what she wants to do. She sits there and writes. When I'm done, she gets the money. She gets, I only take $10 off the top. She gets the rest of the bills. I get to spend $10 on Minecraft or Xbox or what I bought from Miss Leo here up front, one of our great cashier artists. She's selling things. Is a picture of her hand that she painted herself. Because I support community in the local store. It's important. Community is the first thing that should go into every kid's game. You don't care what you're, I mean, it's okay to make a homebrew. It's okay to have D&D. It's okay to believe what you do as a DM, but always remember, when it's kids, it's the kids' fantasy first. And that's why I created Calderon. This, and I'm going to go through that now. This is Cotillia, where Derek's from, my main character. He started in this continent, though, a long time ago. I have flipped this universe, this map, 3 times like Marvel flips alternate universes. Literally, I'm in my 3rd iteration of this world. But this is my permanent world, because originally it was Earth size. It blew it up to the size of Jupiter now. Kryn from Dragonlance is literally on the other side. We have Sokar with sandworms and Doom. We have Chocobos from Final Fantasy you can ride. Now you see I'm getting into a lot of stuff that's from everywhere. Homebrew is okay. What kid doesn't love a Chocobo?
I'm hoping we can do a Fire XCA.
Well, we'll see. But hold the rest of the questions till the end, okay? Because I will do a Q&A, okay? All right. So, I decided what's more. Well, I got these 2 cute little knuckleheads over here, and I love them to death. This is Miss Kristen and Mr. Caleb. McDonald, they've been in my family, and they're not blood to me, but they're family. Because my mother taught me when you love somebody and you get close to people, they become a part of your life. That's what community means. They were the original heroes of this iteration of Calderon. He plays Captain Scar, who's he's got many characters. My favorite is Captain Scar. He was a Triton,
Yes.
who came from down here near Icewall. His people did. And they were originally from another planet. They came on Spelljammer ships. Gotta incorporate all the realms, right? Gotta do it. We have Thieves Island here. Right now, the biggest threat to our world, and I swear to God, Wizards of the Coast owes me so much money because they take the ideas, as soon as I come up with them for my campaign, they announce it. They did it with the Baldur's Gate 3 game where I was going to do Mind Flyers, they took it, and now Vecna Eva ruined it. Vecna is the big bad of our world. He is trying to work with Orcus to destroy everything. He's been talking with the demons, he's been talking with the devils. They go beyond the Infernal lore. Does anybody else here know D&D lore? Anybody? Okay.
I know about the Infernal
Well,
lore.
you did. Good girl. All right. So basically, come on in. If you're curious, this is children's D&D.
Oh, children's D&D.
Yeah, I'm doing a panel about how to DM to children. If you have any children who'd like to join, we have
We don't
a
have 5 kids, so we're debating.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'll continue.
The trolls out there, the teeth out front as you come in, they're the actual event coordinators for our Youth Dungeons and Dragons League. So they're the ones you want to get all the information from, and we have tables open. So we have great, in fact, 3 of our DMs are in this room, myself, Mr. Chad, and Mr. Chris, and we have some of my players, so.
Yeah, we do adult D&D all the time.
All right,
So we're
right on.
But our god kids are starting to get interested.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, if you're interested, come back in and listen. Yeah. So what I'm doing with this campaign is this is the last adult campaign I'm running at my house. I've DM'd for so long. I'm tired of DMing. I don't want to play. Now, I love my kids. They made me keep writing. I will write past Calderon past this. I will write and continue the story of Calderon past this. But my heroes are going to take over Calderon at the end of this campaign. No matter win or lose, Calderon continues in one form or another. So here's the tea, and for those of you that do not want to know what's going to happen, you might want to leave.
Wait, us too?
No, not you.
I don't want spoilers.
I'm going to talk about the adult campaign.
Ah, good. I don't want spoilers for our campaign.
Kristen, let people know. Tell Tila to let people know this is happening.
Will do.
Thanks.
It's very nice to meet
I
you.
don't want to get like I don't want fun spoilers.
Those are my heroes, yep. So, basically, I had to come up with a campaign that's going to last. Every year I up the bar. Originally, I created Derek, Akiro Aldrine, named after Akiro from Conan. But he's like wrestling this year ago. He's just not Asian. Like wrestling. And I had a ninja back from the second edition feudal campaigns. He was Derek's twin brother, Peter. They were the three dragon slayers of the world. Derek was heir to the throne of Valdoria. Father left, just like Soft could have to stop Tiamat, but he didn't. He decided to go around back and beat his wife and had the cataclysm happen. Except Derek's father was taken by a creature I created called the Void. And think of the nothing, only from the Neverending Story, only a giant ooze that envelops the world. Trapped in a magical ooze, traps him in a pocket dimension. So Derek goes out looking as an adventurer. Learns he becomes king. All these heroes join, iterations. His ultimate goal, he blamed the Queen of Darkness, Tiamat, Lachesis, 5-headed dragon, which these two had the luck of meeting. You had the luck of meeting.
The thing in the figurines, it's the big dragon.
Yeah, out on display. Oh, yeah. Which our own Mr. Jody from Little Wars, good painter. He's got cards painted. So, he hated Tiamat. He wanted to kill her. That was his goal. So forged in the fires of Mount Gulag was Sabia de la Mina, the Sword of Light. Taken from the idea of the Master Sword mixed with the sword from the movie Legend. Again, I'm playing on kids' fantasies from movies and other things. Nowadays, though, a lot of kids don't see that. You kids have seen Labyrinth and those kind of shows, right?
I'm watching Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings? Okay, perfect. Tolkien's a classic as you get. So, I take these ideas from video games and movies and things. Things I like, things I would like to play. Because my world is a sandbox here too. Eventually, I'm going to be playing in Calderon as King Derek finally. I can't wait. I've waited 25 years, right? So, when you're teaching these kids, you want to teach them about your world. Let them feel comfortable. Give them things. Let them create an agency. I sat them down and said, okay, here's a book. I showed them my terrain. This is what it looks like. If you're not tech savvy and making anything, I can recommend good friends of mine. I've had the honor of being friends with all the makers from the tabletop characters building. In my podcast, I've had the distinct honor and pleasure to talk with AJ Pickett from, AJ Pickett, Mighty Blue Stick, the leading author of Monster Ecology on YouTube. So these children, I show them what I'm doing. I tell them why I'm doing it. Now, the 5th edition rolls, I'm reading it. Ryan's a big help. But the main thing I'm getting across is the story. Okay, what do you want to do? Why do you want to do this? For example, and this is where we're going to get to my dear, dear, dear friend, Nightingale. Our sweet guy, Nightingale, used to like to run around dwarven tombs and pull fingers off corpses.
I actually got cursed.
Well, you got cursed. Yes, you did. Because obviously, you're not going to go in a graveyard in real life. You're not going to dig up a grave and do something terrible to it. It's somebody's family. It's somebody's dead. Granted, it's funny. It's a game. And it's just a game. And that's okay. But I try to put in values for kids to teach them that you never know how a child's going to turn out. I had a best friend. I hung out with every weekend, played Super Mario 3. Best buddy. We used to cook baked French fries. I lived on a farm up in Michigan, so we make those cleaner bombs out of 2 liters and scare the farmers' cows. He went on to murder my best friend. We don't know. That's why I put these values in children. Because I'm not saying that little sweet Anya is ever going to do anything terrible. She's obviously a great kid. well, yeah, she's a gremlin. She wants to side roll my campaigns, but that's all she's guilty of. You don't know how child's it, but it takes a village to raise a child. I would trust my children with anybody who I deal with more about. In fact, young lady out here, first right as you're coming in. She's Fable Weave Gaming. She's one of my players, Miss Cassidy. I taught her how to deal. I taught her to deal. She is a direct student of mine, and she has her own business. She's doing online games here. I recommend you. If you can't get together and you want to game and you can only game online, that young lady's the one you want to talk to because she knows what she's doing, and she's got every trick I got. But she knows the 5th Edition Player's Handbook front and back because I watched her read it, and she is my Ryan when I'm home. So, what do these kids need to learn past the moral values? Okay, well, I teach them it's okay to be a hero. There's never a villain. I don't do bad guys. You don't play a bad guy in your campaign. Why? Because it's being mean. When you're mean to each other, and I played this where my first few DMs, and I had DM once that was, he would let the players fight. He'd let us, when I was 19. I'm stealing his gold. I want it back. And I've heard this fight last week from within my own group.
Well, we didn't do physical combat.
I'm gonna attack her because she's stealing my gold. No, you're not gonna attack her because this is your teammate. This is the person that goes through the dungeon.
170 pieces of gold from
But she's also your sister, and you know you're gonna get it back. And I'm as your DM, I've got to teach them that they can trust me, that I'm gonna do right for their characters as well as them. Now, little Ella may not quite get it, but she's day by day she's making strides. I mean, where her sister is a gremlin, and she's fun. Her sister looks at me with wide-eyed wonder, clings on every word I say. I mean, I catch her shushing her own sister, like, what do you say?
Are there spoilers now?
No. I one more spoiler I gotta give. So, what's gonna happen at the end of Calderon, which I want to get? For the benefit of those here, for my writing, because someone's here that wants to learn to write. Do what you think is best for the benefit of the players. Because, and you've heard this from Critical Role and everybody else, at the end of the day, it's your world. You do what you want to it. Now, my world can go literally two ways. The last campaign, Scar could have had the planet crack a little, where all the water here would have dumped down into a place I call Lowlit, which is, my world's a Dyson sphere. It's Jupiter, but I mean, it's like the hollow Earth from Kong Godzilla. There's another planet inside. It was taken over by the Kree. And I actually have the rights to use the name Kree from Golden Forge. Stefan Picorni said so. But the Kree are also known as the Anash. And what they do is they're like the Brood. They're like aliens. You know, from the movie Alien. They encapsulate, they spread, they're worse than Mind Flayers. But they had a war with the Mind Flayers. So what could have happened is it would have cracked, it would have flooded Lowlit, it would have just melded the Earth into one big planet again. Just the center filled up. All the people inside that were inside the Dyson sphere would have died. This time around, there's a different thing at stake. Orcus and Vecna want everything destroyed. If they succeed and the players don't do what they need to do, from here, they're going to crack the planet. And it is going to be a little planet, the Dyson sphere inside, is going to be surrounded by this mass asteroid field of floating continents in the sky, to where everything, the water, ecology, the world of Calderon will be tipped on its head. These guys don't know that. That's why they left. They don't want to know. And they're going to get an epilogue where I will say, 100 years later, I'm going to finish Derek's story before it's finished. I'm going to say what happens. They don't know. Cain is the creation myth for this world. Cain sacrificed his own being, his essence of who and what he is, to create this iteration of Calderon. Him and his wife Tabitha the nymph. Derek remembers he had a twin brother, but he never got to see him in this world. He was reminded through something, a MacGuffin I have called the World Star, which is Crystal, the World Crystal, Final Fantasy, Diablo, that is the thing that we have. We have 4 crystals, Final Fantasy is a big inspiration. So he knew all the past iterations of his world. So he's hurt. People he's loved and lost. People he's been married to and is no more. So that's gone. Like, that's finished. So it's going to end with me giving that story away and what happens. Basically, Cain comes back. The three will be united for one last fight. Vecna, Dark Queen, Orcus versus every hero and Calvin I've ever done in every iteration. It's going to be all hands on deck. It's the biggest thing I can do. Go flamboyant. Tell the story. I brought the kids in. These three kids here were instrumental in stopping the generals of Vecna, which are Count Streb von Zarovich.
Killed him.
Yep, which they sent him to Avernus. They trapped him in Tiamat's realm in Avernus. And they set Ravenloft free out of this shadow dimension, out of the Shadowfell, into my world. So Ravenloft is going to be I've never heard of that being done. Like, I'm going to do that. I want that. I want Ravenloft to become a Viper class. No more Domain of Dread. It's going to create a vacuum in the Domain of Dread. It's going to send everybody after each other. It's my idea. Maybe different. Maybe a little. Maybe it doesn't fit with the canon, but these guys will love it. And so the second. Okay, who was the second one? We killed off Lolth. Vecna's killing the gods to get the power. That's what Orcus is imbuing them. Loltha's dead. Dwarven goddess of, kind of like the dwarven version of Mishako, or not Mishako, Chiselov from Dragonlance. Dead. It's not like 12 gods killed off, so Vecna's gaining power. He was this little guy, and now he's this mini. I got the mini. He's got a cedar collar, big green omelets. So I made the kids interact with my adult group. Again, it goes back to community. This is how, and that's just how I DM. I can't speak for Chris, or you come in, spoilers over. I can't speak for Chad, I can't speak for Chris, but that's how I DM the kids, because that's what I'm giving them is the immersion. And by God, if they want to, like, I was trying to get them to send Strahd back to the Shadowfell, the Domain of Dread, brain side. But instead, they said, no, we're sending them to Avernus. They found a way, they researched it, they did it, like, done. They got their wish, because that's what they wanted to do.
How did we do that again?
You were in that room that was a part cavern. It's when you had the aspect of Jewel Blix jumping and saying,
Yeah, what does it
you
have
found
to
that ancient tablet rock scrolly thingy with the golden runes on the obsidian. That told you how to banish Strahd. You deciphered it. You read it.
What, Salazar.
Yeah, Salazar. Oh,
Salazar Slytherin.
with that too, passing the torch to children. Don't be afraid to. Akiro Eldrine was my Rasslin wizard. Even though Rasslin does exist in my world, Rasslin's a wizard. This is my world. Akiro's better. I'm sorry. It's just, that's biased because it's your world. You want to idolize your heroes. I idolize them. Akiro has manipulated time and everything to make this happen. These spoilers I talked about earlier. So, Akiro has passed the torch to Salazar. Salazar was imbued with his staff of the Magi, his robes, everything from Akiro. He will be the next high sorcery teacher. This is my beautiful wife, Jessica, for those of you that didn't meet her yet. She's put up with me for 16 long years, and she was my guinea pig into the new iteration of Kelron. She played the wizard named Jessalyn, who ended up marrying Akiro in the first iteration. But then in this one, her girl, Winter, which was, I'm trying to figure out how the family tree works. Who's Winter to everybody? Winter is...
Winter, a snowy month.
Oh, Winter ended up marrying Akiro. Akiro actually fell in love with Winter when Winter was supposed to be. That's what we worked out.
Goddess Anya,
Goddess Anya, yeah.
her kids, Damascus, and Arl, which is Derek's wife.
Right.
And then Damascus had twins, and she's
Right.
Dagan.
Now, that's a lot for the adult games. Kids games, you don't get as a lot. Like, you can say that they have ancestors. If Ella were to come in and say, Mr. Derek, I want to have Poco in the next, can we play a few years later, or 100 years later or so, where we have a campaign where Poco had a granddaughter or grandson. I'll work with the kids, yeah, absolutely, why not? I mean, that's, as DMs, you know that's doable. Teaching them that is fundamental. We've got to pass these on to the kids. We've got to let them know it's okay. Actually, Ella asked me something wonderful at the end of last week's game because I was sitting waiting for the folks, and I always like to make sure the kids, you know, if you're going to be doing this professionally, I don't know if you are or not, but make sure kids get picked up. Parents know transparency with these folks. Remember, they trust you with your children. Stay with them. Let them know that you will go to the extreme for their kids. Especially, I told Miss Ma'am here, I'm sorry for your name. Julie. I told Miss Julie that because she trusts me with her kids. It's easy in this day and age for a kid to, no spoilers, Mace. You're good. You're good. You're good. Hey, you're good. No spoilers, it's on. Kids, that's my youngest. He's like, Dad, no, I know. He's so invested in his war fortune at Kaza because his character Kaza became a god, sacrificed himself in our first campaign for the world. He's the reason Lolit is still around.
Didn't we charm person him?
Did you what?
Didn't we charm person him?
Yes, you did. And that's because he didn't get his power back. But he helped out the group and he got his power. He has a personal stake against Vecna because last the story left off to them. Derek and Queen Oral gave up their throne to his twin sister and his brother-in-law to take a flight of dragons down to the Dark Isle. Out of 5 flights, only 2 dragons and Queen Oral returned. All of them missing in action today. Derek was last seen falling off his dragon onto the island. Nobody knows if he's alive or dead. No word. So the heroes sent one goddess that just arrived, the goddess of flame, Crimson Fire. She's a phoenix. To go check on Derek to see if he's okay, because that's the only thing that the undead worry about is fire. Well, a couple other things too, but you know, radiant light, things like that. She can do a scan without getting totally nailed by Orcus. Orcus is pretty brave and pretty powerful, but he would think twice against challenging Crimson. That Mortal Kombat thing may play out. We don't know. Time will tell. They have a lot of good ideas. So Ella asked me if, Mr. Derek, I've got a tabaxi. Am I tabaxi fly? I don't have a race like that, Ella. What I tell you though? Can you say what I told you? Not shy?
That we could maybe make a Tabaxi race with wings.
That's right. Why can't Tabaxi evolve? For children. I mean, yeah, for a kid, what's it hurt our world? Tabaxi, in my opinion, is a demon, just my opinion alone. A little overpowered. I mean, they have claws or cats or stealthy. I mean, they're literally the Khajiit of D&D, you know?
We could delete some stats.
So why not let them spread wings? Why not let them evolve? There are sky continents in this world too. I mean, you've got to have low-lit, middle-on sky continents. Sorry, I'm not telling you everything about my world. I'm putting out a book. I swear to God, it's just slow writing. This young man here is writing D&D stories. He'd know. Still writing the story. Still.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, why not Tabaxi? Why not? I'm thinking, this is just what I'm thinking, I'll tell you now. Why not find out that there's already winged Tabaxi and that Ella just needs a blessing to get her wings? Why not just have her evolve and bring, or if there's not already winged Tabaxi, have her evolve them somehow. Get a MacGuffin, get the kids involved. Kids getting involved make for great role play.
After all.
Yes, there's Chessum, exactly.
Is there like a place where I can find like Tabaxi stats and stuff?
Find what?
Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, I think. Or it's either Tasha's Cauldron or Monsters of the Multiverse.
Yeah, there's many appendix that they wrote already for 5th edition that you can find almost anything. Xanthars, Volos. I actually own Volos. The only thing I actually really read was a Monster Manual. Because I love monsters. Who doesn't love saying monsters? What time is it? Yeah.
It is like 2:45.
2:45? Okay. So, basically to sum up, and I want to thank you guys for bearing with me, this is the first panel I've ever done, and it's been an honor to have you folks sitting and talk with me about it. It's been an amazing journey for me to have you guys hear my tale, my journey, and how I get to help these wonderful children write stories one day of their own is just a complete honor. Seriously, sincerely. The last thing I want to say about the kids before I start the Q&A is humility. I was an arrogant kid. I was terrible to my mother because of my dysfunction. I became the best friend of my mom because I learned humility. And by having that in the community, that's why I'm so good to folks. That's why I'm open to talk. That's why I support everyone. It's because until you've been around about any shoes, doesn't matter where they come from, like you've heard the spiel, you don't know. I mean, they could just have different views because different walks of life. I mean, it only takes a kindness to change somebody's mind forever. That's all it takes. That's it. That's all I gotta say. So, questions? Anybody? DM Chris.
So I had a question about the problem that I have with the scale of a threat. I feel actually has a problem with not just DMing but with movies to make the world feel less alive. So you know how you were talking about, I can talk about Vecna and Orcus, all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're talking about them teaming up. And the whole time I'm thinking is like, when there's a world-ending threat, and it's like in Marvel, where is everyone else?
Right.
Because there are the celestial powers, the Valkyries, the Zalga, the Planetars, and there's also the devils and the Blood War. They don't want demons to rise at all. So where are they? Why aren't they doing anything? And like, there's also inner working powers in the world. Like the gods themselves don't want their world to be destroyed. Why is it?
She's looking at me.
Where is, so the higher the scale and the lack of interventions makes the world feel more dead to me.
It does. And here's what I did this is my answer. Vecna and Orcus are taking over Calderon. What's going on? Where's well, Derek did act. There is a in every Japanese anime I've ever watched that's medieval, there is a guild where adventurers go and eat and get missions and all of this, right? Yeah, there is in Calderon too. My dwarf, Thrawn Ironforge, we're distant cousin of Dragonlance dwarves. Yeah, he started the guilds. They're out all doing things. They are doing stuff. Because as much as Vecna and Orcus is out there doing crap, not every evil thing is working with him. There are other evils too that those adventurers are hanging on to. So it's up to the Avengers of my world, which is Valdoria, Calderon. Galantry is actually here. Everybody knows Galantry from Mystara? Or Mystra? Well, you youngins don't, but Mystra is one of the second edition campaign settings. Really weird stuff. Black ball monsters that just eat through anything. And Vampiric Roses, second edition handbook, excellent source. AJ Pickett will, if you ask him, he'll send you a link to send it to 5th edition. So they're over here handling this, and currently there are not just, okay, this abomination up here is called Sokar. Miss Tila here are little worse employees to blame for this mess, because she sold me a bunch of minis, I think from Bones, called Nef-Sokar, so I named it after that. That's Sokar. My wife's fault. Dunes, sandworms, all that, but there's also rockworms that live here. Right now these rockworms are working to unearth something. They're being told by someone to unearth something here. So they're eating around the mountainside. There are adventurers from Galantry and from this area over here dealing with that threat. Because if they get out, and they get out of that continent, they're going to wish for a Traz. I mean, think of twice the size of a worm from Dune, the latest Dune movies.
And if I may, why don't you tell Chris that your God told every other God not to interfere?
Yeah,
So 2 of us have already fallen.
that's a good point I want to make with you, yes. So the heroes, there are heroes handling these things, but Cornus was the son in the last iteration of Derek Doran. He gave his life. They all gave their lives. You know, he gave his life. It's a hero's journey. They all got to give their lives because I'm unoriginal as a DM. I was very unoriginal. Everybody gives their lives. Everybody's a hero's journey because heroism is something I strive to be during the trial. I always wanted to be heroic. I never was. Too bad I never was. But I want to be that, so I teach that thing. So, what are they all doing? Well, they're doing their thing, and it's like, okay, you've got all these heroes doing things. I just strayed. Where was I? Cornus demanded the gods because of the interference of the Dark Queen in the last campaign and how bad things got. Alright, demons, goddesses, because Tiamat's allowed to take a place in the god concept, even though she's in Avernus too. She's a goddess. Nobody's allowed to. You touch Earth, I swear to God, the rule was we'll harness Derek's light of good that he used last world. We'll table that. We'll lock it away. But you guys can never go down to the world and intervene. No more. Oh, Wolf and Zuckmoy and Tiamat got it in themselves, and we're gonna disobey Coronus. Forget him. And Queen Anya said, the goddess Anya said, you know what? Fine. Coronus like, don't do it. Anya says, no, I'm mom. Light came up, sent Derek on the mesh in his time. Don't who he is.
So whenever I'm also a DM that has a lot of issues with dialogue, but not dialogue between players and NPCs. I'm talking about NPC dialogue between NPCs. And like a lot of times, whenever it happens, it seems like the dialogue has to be so unbelievably important to what they're doing, and not only NPC to NPC, but like dialogue between like players and NPCs. It seems like there's a disinterest between pointless dialogue, which in my mind has a point because it brings significance later because you look back on the pointless dialogue when you're having issues in the future. Like, how do you do it right to where you can have pointless and dialogue with a point in like those moments properly? Like, how do you gauge whether or not they register it as? Suppose what I'm trying to ask you is how do you gauge whether or not to do dialogue between two NPCs in a certain situation?
Well, it comes down to, for me personally, and just so I translate this correctly to my brain damaged brain, you're asking if I have to have my NPC talk to another NPC in front of the players, correct?
Yeah.
But how to make it matter, is it worth it or not?
Yeah, because like a lot of times when I do it, they're not really entirely interested because to them it seems like this has nothing to do with them.
Gotcha. 2 points I want to make with that, and it's very important. First of all, again, you've clarified to me before the panel, you do homework.
Oh yes.
Okay, so I have a lot of NPCs in my head. I mean, I could be diagnosed with multiple personality disorder with the amount of people that are talking in my head. I've got a Kender that won't shut up in my brain that thinks he has to talk to everybody. You're smiling, you know what a Kender is. So it's like, okay, when you have Kipler Thistlefoot going, blah, 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 you're like, shut up. Is this important to the campaign? Yes. First point, yes it is. Because, one, if it's not part of the story, it's part of giving you world flavor. Kipler Thistlefoot Hurts a Lot is a very flamboyant character who either annoys the group to where they never want to meet him again because people hate Kenders, or I love Kenders so much I want to make them laugh. Now, when you're telling a story, you're doing more than just saying, okay, he looks at you and says, or he says to him, and then he says back. You're laying down an atmosphere. Atmosphere is everything, as much to adults as it is to children. When I look at Anya, or Alistair and Poco, and I'm talking, and I'm trying to say that my two characters are talking, sometimes they're not even listening. Sometimes they're talking to each other, or they're trying to talk to Ryan about a rule or something. I have to get their attention. Voices help. But to the first point, if I stay on track, is brain injury. Always make sure that you let them know that the dialogue, even though it may not be important to the story, you're trying to give it flavor. And if they know you as a DM, and you DM them long enough, they'll understand that, hey, he cares. It's like I say with family, my family's in there. They know that I'm trying to tell them the best story I can, because at the end of the day, I want them to have fun. They're what matters. They're heroes in my world. At the end of the day, my NPCs, they're doing this. They go off on their own like puppets. They're heroes. Listen to them enough. They get that option interview. Give them the option interview. Give them the option to say, shut up! Nobody cares what you want to do. It happens. I have a big sharkling named Jaw. I got the name from an anime. I think it was Bleach, but I love the name, so I did it. The big shark. He just carries an anchor on his. So Jow Jack just battles about nothing. He's dumb as a rock.
Negative intelligence.
Negative intelligence. But the whole point isn't to have him give them exposition. It's to make him have fun. And he talks to himself, like he's his own NPC to himself. The second point is, exposition is only important when you absolutely need it to be. If it moves the story forward, that's what exposition is. It's a way to get people that are, a lot of times, even my kids, they stall. A lot of things that they get hung up on. I'll look at Ryan. Ryan got in this room and he's like, but this, and this, I'm doing this. I'm like, okay guys, I have to stop the game. You're overthinking it. Sometimes I give them too much exposition. You can give too much exposition. Give them enough to ask questions, but don't let them ask too many questions. That's as DMs, we always do this. I mean, I don't know a DM that doesn't say, oh crap, I think I sent it down the wrong path. I think they're overthinking this and that. How do I dial it back without looking like a jerk? I've done that with Anya. I was like, okay, no, Anya, no. What I meant to say, and I have to change. I have to literally retcon on the spot. And that's okay for a writer to do. A lot of times when you're writing, if you're writing a book, I got a book that's not published yet called The Talisman of Tarn. It's the first iteration of my world. It's part where I had to retcon a part where Derek had a nightmare about Kane getting stabbed. I wrote it. I worked for a pizzeria, so I had nothing to do. It was a stupid pizzeria. Nobody came in. It was unpopular because it was at a restaurant. But I'm sitting there writing, I'm like, it sucks. So I'm in the pizzeria, and I got trouble up. I'm writing from I rewrote that scene 16 different times because it didn't turn out. When you're doing it DMing, stop retcon. Always retcon. Don't be afraid because we're not movie producers. We want to be. I know we want to be. But at the end of the day, tell your story and have your players tell their story to you. Let your players interact in your world and tell their story, I guess is the best way to say it. That's what DMing kids is all about. Now, depending on your age ranges, you're going to come into obstacles. This little one here, I was scared to death when I first saw her. I'm like, oh God, I got a squeaker. Am I going to say the wrong thing? I'm trying not to swear, because at home, like you guys know, I swear like a sailor around my 15-year-old. I'm terrible. But I'm around other people's kids. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna curb that, So I'm like, okay, so I'm looking at her like, oh my God, do I go Disney? She's so cute, she's little. Do we do My Little Pony? Do we do like Borderline Man?
This is the child who has watched the Deadpool.
Yeah, then I learned that she's her sister. I'm like, okay, we're gonna be chopping off toes and stabbing. It's okay to lighten up, but I get what some Critical Role said. Always have an agreement with your players. What's acceptable. It has nothing to do about agendas or anything. It's all about making your players feel comfortable, especially with kids. Because kids, and here's something that I've learned, present company accepted. If you learn that, because outside of this too, I'm also an ordained minister. I handle children that have been molested or hurt, and I counsel them. If you have children that have these kinds of pains, you don't want to bring up triggering content for them. Triggering someone, I had a young girl back when I was younger. I was, I think, 19, I was 18. 19-year-old girl. Adult, by anyone's standards. She had a miscarriage. She lost her child, still young. She got to see him for I had a story plot where she found a baby minotaur after killing the minotaur. She started crying. I didn't know what I did. I didn't know it affected that much. I didn't speak to her for months. And this is a child who, this person was one of the first people I ever knew in my life as a father. I knew her since I was 6. Broke her heart. All she could do for months was remember her child was born. Sucked too because I wanted to date her at the time. So it really made me look like an ass. So, I mean, triggering things to children, gotta be careful. Ella is afraid of spiders. I didn't know that. So I took her, I stopped the game because there's a big spider for sale right now that the band's selling. I wanted to buy that for the group, plop it down and go, rah, Sheila, guys! Because everybody knows that scene. I love it. I watch it. Who doesn't want to do that scene with their players? So I took her aside. I said, okay, time out. First thing I did is I said, Ella, can I show you something? Okay, now she's even under 14, sure, she's under 13, right? She's 9, okay? Okay, first of all, red flag. Man taking a 9-year-old aside in a store, no, red flag. So what did I do? I asked sister to accompany us that way. There's no misunderstandings. There's nobody out in that lobby on Sunday, however. But I still asked her to accompany me in front of the staff that way. There's no questions. And you want to make sure that's first paramount, parents and kids. I said, Ella, I'm going to show you a spider, okay? Ready? She's ready. I said, does this scare you? She said, nah, it's not not
She
real.
doesn't like live ones.
I don't
Yeah.
like live spiders.
I'm
I
scared.
don't like big spiders. I
I'm
like
scared of
big
scary
live
spiders. Hairy ones at Halloween, they scare the crap out of me. I'm arachnophobic. She sees a roach, I kill it. I see a spider, she kills it. That's the rules of our house. So, to go back to your question, I'm sorry I strayed. But yeah, exposition between each other, even if it's not exposition, perfectly okay. There's never enough. In fact, you should do it all the time because you're making, even though we're not producers and directors, we're not making a movie, in a way you kind of are at the same time for your people. You can't be afraid to show and express your inner DM, especially with kids involved. I love it. And thank
Yeah,
you.
voices, accents, and inflections.
Right. I'm big on it, even around my wife. My God, she loves it. We have a new character that Miss Fable Weave Gaming out here fell in love with named Ankara. AJ Pickett helped me create a new race for the world. Well, bring back a race, I should say, from second edition called the Saurians. I think they're called Saurians or Saurians? Saurians. I have a big Ankylosaurus. She's big, dumb, barbaric. They come from the desert. They've never been outside of this valley. They're currently helping his character, Ali, and them get through to get the Rod of Seven Parts to put a nail in Becca's coffin. But he doesn't speak English. He's never ran into anybody that's not a Saurian. So he's like Hulk. He saw them save him, banging his clothes. I speak in like an Aboriginal gibber. It's not being racist, and you got not worry about racism, okay? If you say something that may be out of context, or you think somebody may say thinks is racist in front of a child, ask them. I have a child of color in my group named Braxton. I thought I said something once that was off color to him, and he's like, "No, Mr. Dell, you're just playing good with it. It's not, you know," because I use kind of like a ghetto accent, because that's what one of my characters legitimately sound like. They're from the Fey realm, and I just think it's funny that way. It's the Will from the Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign. Will, I made him talk ghetto. He said, yeah, what's up? So, he didn't find it offensive. He's like, no, that's funny, Mr. Bell, keep going. And then they got in the racing snails. It's all fun.
3 o'clock.
3.
Yep. Our time's up.
Yeah. So, that's, thanks. So,